It begins with a number that doesn't make sense. 4 centimeters. It's all it takes for alarm to spread across monitoring stations surrounding Mount Etna. At first glance, it seems insignificant, barely the width of a finger. But this is not a crack in a wall or a shift in loose soil. This is an entire side of a volcano, moving. Right now, deep sensors embedded along Etna's southeastern flank are transmitting live data. Every hour, the readings update. Every hour, the same conclusion appears. The mountain is sliding. Field teams rush to confirm it. GPS instruments fixed into the rock show displacement that cannot be explained away. Coastal stations positioned miles away detect the same creeping motion, subtle, relentless, and perfectly aligned toward the sea. No explosion, no eruption, just movement. And that's what makes it worse. Because slow movement means something massive is shifting beneath the surface. Something that hasn't released its energy yet. Along the lower slopes, cracks begin to appear. At first, they are thin, almost invisible lines cutting through old lava fields. But within hours, they widen. Roads that once felt solid now carry a faint, unnatural tension. Survey markers tilt ever so slightly, just enough to confirm the nightmare. This isn't surface damage, it's a structural failure. The southeastern flank of Etna, millions of tons of rock, ash, and hardened lava is detaching. Not breaking apart violently, but sliding as a single enormous mass. And it's moving in one direction only, down, toward the Ionian Sea. Monitoring stations escalate their alerts. Data feeds are no longer routine, they're urgent. Engineers begin cross-checking systems, hoping for an error. There is none. The movement is real, and it's accelerating. What terrifies experts most is not how fast it's happening, but how quietly. Because history has shown that when a volcanic flank collapses, it doesn't warn the world with noise. It simply gives way. And when it does, everything above it follows. The moment the data is confirmed, the tone changes. Inside monitoring centers across Catania, screens that usually display routine volcanic activity are now flashing with urgent updates. Numbers are no longer stable. Graphs that once moved in predictable patterns are bending slowly at first, then unmistakably. Something is wrong. At the forefront is the Istituto Nazionale di Geofisica, Volcanology, the INGV. This is the team that watches Etna every second of every day. They have seen eruptions, lava fountains, ash clouds reaching kilometers into the sky. But this is different, because Etna isn't erupting. It's slipping. Emergency meetings are called within minutes. Scientists gather around live feeds, comparing GPS displacement, seismic readings, and satellite imagery. Each dataset confirms the same terrifying truth. The southeastern flank is moving as a single block, and it's picking up speed. Seismic stations begin detecting low-frequency tremors. Not the sharp jolts of earthquakes, but deep, rolling vibrations. It's the kind that signal internal strain, the kind that suggests something enormous is under pressure and losing stability. Phones start ringing. Government officials demand answers. Local authorities want timelines. Coastal emergency teams ask the question no one wants to say out loud. How bad could this get? The response is cautious, but the fear is obvious. Because scientists already know what Etna is capable of. They've studied past collapses. They've mapped ancient landslides buried beneath the sea. Entire sections of volcanoes have broken away before vanishing into the ocean in moments, displacing massive volumes of water. And when that happens, it doesn't stay local. Satellite monitoring intensifies. High-resolution radar scans track the slope movement down to millimeters. Each new pass shows the same pattern. The flank is not stabilizing. It's accelerating. Back in control rooms, one realization begins to spread. This may not stop on its own. Warnings begin to circulate quietly, at first internal alerts, risk assessments, contingency plans. But as the data becomes impossible to ignore, the urgency leaks outward. Civil protection agencies are notified. Coastal risk models are pulled from archives and reactivated. Time is no longer measured in days. It's measured in how long the mountain can hold itself together. Because if the structure fails, there will be no gradual warning. It's just a sudden collapse, and the sea will be directly in its path. Beneath the surface of Mount Etna, something far more dangerous than lava is at work. It's not fire, it's weakness. Right now, deep below the southeastern flank, an invisible boundary is shifting, a massive fracture zone that has been forming for thousands of years. Scientists have mapped parts of it before, but what they are seeing now suggests something much worse. The mountain is not solid. It's layered. Old lava flows, hardened ash, fragmented rock stacked over centuries like unstable blocks. And between those layers, there are zones where the material is softer, weaker, almost slippery under pressure. That's where the movement begins. As magma pushes upward inside Etna, it doesn't always erupt. Sometimes it spreads sideways, forcing the mountain outward. Over time, that pressure builds, stretching the volcanic structure like a slowly bending beam. Now, that pressure has found a release point, the fracture. Seismic data coming in right now shows something chilling. The tremors are not random. They're aligned following a specific path beneath the flank, tracing the exact direction of movement. It's like watching the outline of a break before it happens. And the deeper the sensors go, the worse it looks. At several kilometers beneath the surface, there are signs of detachment. The upper layers of the volcano are no longer fully anchored to the base. They are sliding over it, inch by inch, like a massive slab losing its grip. Beneath the looming threat of Mount Etna, life carries on, yet everything feels fragile. Streets of small towns cling to the foothills, unaware how close the mountain's weight presses against them. Families shop, children play, but their world hums with tension, a low-frequency panic they can't see but can feel. Maria, a local cafe owner in Asireel, notices tiny cracks forming across her terrace. Her neighbors talk in hushed tones about the trembling sidewalks. Phones buzz constantly with warnings from authorities, yet skepticism persists. After all, Etna has erupted hundreds of times. People have rebuilt before. They think the mountain is predictable. But this is different. Down the coast, fishermen report strange behavior in the sea. Buoys rock violently, even in calm waters. Small tremors rattle their boats. The Ionian waves ripple unnaturally, hinting at the pressure building from below. The men exchange worried glances, realizing the mountain's movement isn't confined to the slopes. They're already feeling its reach. Children at school notice the subtle shakes, the slight tilting of walls, the doors that no longer close properly. Teachers try to maintain calm, but the anxiety is contagious. Every rumble sparks whispers. Is it happening now? Emergency sirens occasionally wail, testing response systems, and residents glance at them with unease, unsure if today will be the day the warning becomes real. Some pack essentials just in case. Others, unable to leave work or home, stare at the mountainside, heartbeats sinking to the slide's slow rhythm. Even tourists, oblivious at first, begin noticing signs: fissures in hiking trails, trembling terraces, distant dust clouds rising along Etna's slope. Guides attempt to reassure them, but the air of tension is unmistakable. The entire community is suspended in uncertainty, knowing that a single catastrophic collapse could change everything. Local officials visit homes, delivering leaflets outlining evacuation routes. Volunteers knock on doors, checking elderly residents. Helicopters circle overhead, broadcasting warnings. But despite preparation, fear spreads faster than action. Families hold each other tighter at night. Strangers offer nervous smiles, aware they share the same looming threat. And through it all, the mountain continues to move, silent, massive, and unstoppable. Its shadow grows longer each day, pressing down on the lives of those below. The human impact is not just physical, it is psychological. It's anxiety, helplessness, and awe mingle in every conversation, every glance, every heartbeat. Because even if no collapse happens today, tomorrow could bring a force they cannot escape. The first cracks aren't just in the mountain, they're in the systems meant to protect the people below. Traffic lights along evacuation routes begin to flicker. Roads buckle as the shifting earth pushes against asphalt. Bridges designed for decades of wear strain against the subtle but relentless slide of Etna's southeastern flank. Emergency crews scramble to keep routes open, but every effort feels like pushing against an unstoppable tide. Communications falter. Cell towers tilt, sending bursts of static across emergency channels. Radio frequencies overlap. GPS signals jump slightly, making coordination a nightmare. and every second counts. Confusion spreads faster than the mountain itself. Hospitals feel the pressure. Patients in lower floors feel tremors through their beds. Equipment designed to stay stable now shifts. Staff race to secure fragile machinery, but each tremor brings a new wave of uncertainty. Power surges flicker through the grid as substations strain under stress. Backup generators kick in, but only a fraction of the city's needs can be sustained. In coastal towns, the fear intensifies. Evacuation sirens blast repeatedly. Overlapping with alarms from seismic monitors, some residents refuse to leave, paralyzed by disbelief or stubbornness. Others flee in panic, clogging the very routes meant to save them. Traffic jams form as every car becomes a potential hazard in a city on the edge. Meanwhile, monitoring stations work overtime. Scientists attempt to patch together live data feeds, but instruments themselves are affected by the slope's movement. Delays, gaps, and glitches paint an incomplete picture of the danger. Every second of uncertainty adds to the panic. Supply chains falter. Food and water distribution slows. Emergency shelters fill faster than authorities can staff them. Communications breakdowns delay instructions. Volunteers rush to help, but confusion and fear turn even the most organized response into chaos. The mountain continues to slide. The flank creeps closer to the sea. Every failure in infrastructure amplifies the human cost. The systems designed to protect life are straining under pressure, and it's only a matter of time before they are overwhelmed entirely. Nature doesn't negotiate, doesn't wait for backup generators or emergency plans. Etna moves forward with perfect, unstoppable momentum, and humanity scrambles to keep up. The southeastern flank of Mount Etna now looms like a sleeping giant over the Ionian Sea. Cameras and satellites track the movement in real time. Every millimeter of slide is a warning. Every shift of rock and ash whispers a single terrifying question: what happens if it falls? Simulations run by scientists suggest a single collapse could unleash a wall of water tens of meters high. The Ionian Sea doesn't just lap against the coast, it surges. Entire coastal towns could vanish in minutes. Streets, beaches, marinas, everything in the path of the displaced water would be swept away. Authorities issue emergency alerts, but even the fastest evacuation can't guarantee safety. Fishermen offshore see abnormal waves rolling toward them. Helicopters struggle to communicate over static-filled radio channels. Families on the coast clutch one another, waiting for sirens, watching clouds of dust and rock creep down the mountain. Panic is no longer just a rumor, it's real, palpable, contagious. In the monitoring centers, graphs spike uncontrollably. The flank's acceleration is beyond anything recorded in modern history. Models predicting collapse, timelines shortened by hours, minutes, then seconds. Officials realize there may be no warning at all when the rock finally plunges. It doesn't end with one collapse. Submerged portions of the slope threaten to trigger secondary slides, creating multiple waves. The coastline could be hammered again and again, a relentless chain reaction with devastating consequences. Emergency systems are overwhelmed. Shelters are already full, roads clogged, power grids unstable. Humanity is scrambling against a force that cannot be bargained with. The mountain is patient, the sea is waiting. Scientists warn that Etna's slide is just the beginning. Other unstable volcanoes around the world have similar hidden fractures. What is happening in Sicily could be a preview of future disasters elsewhere, mega landslides capable of creating tsunamis across entire oceans. For now, all eyes are on Etna, and as the flank continues to creep toward the sea, the question remains: will it hold, or will the mountain finally let go? One thing is certain: when the collapse happens, nothing will be the same. The water will rise, the towns will tremble, and the shadow of Etna will leave an imprint that echoes far beyond Sicily. The mountain slides, the sea waits, and the world holds its breath.